What if there was three very simple steps that if you mastered these three steps, you could get as many referrals as you want. You get families using chiropractic as their primary health care for not only these generations, but generations to come. You could not only get 8 to 9 out of 10 parents bringing their kids, but you could get whole family trees. And then if you really mastered all three of these, you would create a messenger and a leader, not just a patient you're trying to close, but a messenger and a leader that sees the healthcare that's going on in the world today as a problem and wants to bring as many people as possible into chiropractic. Well, you can do this. We're doing it now in Elite, and we're teaching this right from day one in the Generational Legacy Day 1, Day 2 boot camp going on December 12th through the 14th. Check it out below. Schedule a legacy call, and I will show you exactly how to master these three steps. So I'm going to go through them really fast, and we're going to master this in 2.5 days with you and your team in December. One, they got to get the principle. Now, here's the thing. And energy goes from the brain down the spinal cord. Spinal cord is like a waterfall. It carries energy into the body, and energy is your health. Health is energy. They are the same. Now, the problem is that goes through your spine. And the structure of your spine determines the amount of energy that goes through your spine that gets into the organs and determines if you're in the state of health or state of disease. Those are the only two things you need to talk about. Are you in the state of health, state of disease? You're subluxated, you're in the state of disease. You're not subluxated, you're in the state of health. So let's get your spinal cord working 100% because that's your lifeline, and they have to know it as identity, not as anatomy. So I just gave you a bunch of one-liners. Spinal cord's the lifeline. Hey, would you agree your quality of your life, the quality of your health determines the quality of your life? Everybody's going to say yes to that. Everybody has family members with a spinal cord. Everybody has kids that have a spinal cord. Everybody comes from a family tree of all these people who have spinal cords because the principle is lifestyle, and that's what creates a messenger. Second thing, nobody told you that. You went 42 years, you never took care of your spine and nervous system. That's the only problem you're solving. So when we look at all 42 years, this whole pattern that you live without taking your spine and nervous system, that's why you're showing up injured. That's why you're showing up with 19 different health problems. Because none of your chiropractors that just cared about pain, they didn't tell you. All they did was take your insurance, do whatever, set you up for a few visits, get you out of pain. Oh, Miss Jones, how's your back pain affect your life? I don't feel like a good mom. Basic sales. Anybody can do that. I don't need to go to a weekend seminar to learn, hey, how's your back pain affecting your golf game? How's it affecting your life? How's it affecting your workouts? But then 3 adjustments later, they can do everything, and that's why they quit. Not long-term retention. That is a close because you're trying to create a patient as opposed what they didn't tell you creates an enemy. Every major movement in history that changed the world had an enemy, right? Hey, who was the enemy of Travis Kalanick? Uber, cabs, right? Who was the enemy of Gandhi? British control. Who was the enemy of Jesus? Satan and sin, right? Then they give them hope. So these are human qualities of what creates movement. What you weren't told. Now you're not dogging on other doctors, you're just telling them the truth. What you weren't told. Hey, did your MD, before he gave that asthma inhaler, did he ask you about any traumas? Because you had a car accident 2 years before, and then your immune system crashed, you develop allergies, progress into asthma, and then 5 years later, now you have an autoimmune disease and colitis. Does a person with colitis have a different quality of life than a person that doesn't? Does a person with cancer have a different quality of life than a person that doesn't? Because that's a pattern of an immune weakness. So, what your doctor didn't tell you. I met this woman. I was having dinner in a bar at a seminar, and she was telling me about this car accident. I broke my ankles, and I'm still suffering, blah, blah, blah. And then she says, and then I developed leukemia. And I'm like, wait a second. So you had an accident. How much longer after your accident did you develop leukemia? 2 years. 2 years after the accident. So your bone marrow worked amazingly well until you had a massive trauma to your body and your nervous system. And then all of a sudden, your bone marrow doesn't know how to make normal red blood cells. Well, what's giving that information? The nervous system. Did your oncologist tell you anything about that? Well, he said it was a gene. Of course, it's a gene because the whole electromagnetic force of your body went wrong. All of a sudden, your bone marrow doesn't know what to do. What triggered that gene, right? Trauma. So this is the way it works. So you create an enemy. Did they tell you? 4 words create an enemy. What's that do? Transfer trust. Now that they're like, that's bullshit. I should have known. I've suffered with asthma for 20 years, right? I mean, I didn't have to suffer. I'd say, I don't know, but we help people with these conditions every day. And the probability is looking at your x ray. Hey, you correct your spine, you open up energy in your body, energy heals. Health is energy. The healthcare system of the New World is energy healing. It always has been. Rockefeller hijacked uh, the medical profession and made it about drugs and surgery, right? That's why we have what we have. It's always been energy healing. This is the way God created us. Then what's the third thing? One, they got to get the principle as identity. Two, you got to create an enemy. They didn't tell you this. Now, what's the third one? Generational patterns. Who'd you get it from? Who's got an immune system weakness? Well, my mom went through a bout of cancer. Okay, could be following the same pattern as your mom. I'm not going to say you are, but let's look at your posture. Let's look at the fact that you have an autoimmune disease. Let's look at the fact that you have a kid with allergies. Who are you giving it to? Do they live in the area? Now, right there, you're going to get primary the daughter with allergies, the mom with autoimmune, and the grandmom who has a history of cancer if she's still alive, or the aunt that is currently going through cancer or autoimmune or ulcerative colitis. You see these patterns in families now, right from day one. You can start getting these referrals. Doc, do you think you could help my mom? Geez, we don't want her to have cancer again. Well, now if your daughter's following that pattern, I imagine you don't want to have it. You don't want your daughter to have it. And if this is a pattern that we can break, would you want to affect the health of it every generation to come? Yes. Did your pediatrician talk to you about that with your daughter? No. Did he ask you about your family history? No. Did they say anything about immune system? No. Did they say anything in relationship to the nervous system? No. Then why would you go back to a doctor that didn't tell you the fundamental truth of health and healing is energy? You have health conditions, but you have one problem. You have an energy problem. And it's running through your family. Now, when you do that, they're going to ask you to bring their family. Are you tired of begging people for family members? You know why you're tired of begging them? Because you didn't do these 3 things. It's so easy. And then you're going to create a leader and you're going to create a messenger. And here's the bonus fourth thing, you're going to give them a purpose. Now, what's that? You can break the pattern in your family. Everybody you know that's taking drugs, I doubt their doctor told them they have an energy problem. Do you think they want to be on drugs? Or do you think it's the only thing that they know because that's all they've been told? Well, if you know a message, it can change their life, add value, health, quality, and longevity even to their life. Do you feel an obligation to tell them? Great, bring them to the workshop next week. Now we show you how to get them to refer. Hey, we're going over this in detail. I guarantee you and your team will have this mastered. Day 1, day 2, December 12th through the 14th, Salt Lake City. Click on the link below because it's invitation only. So let's talk about what your purpose is. Let's talk about what your practice is. Let's talk about what your vision is. And if we align, I guarantee you, I can look at your practice and make you 100% guarantee on that result, or the coaching to get you there is free. Who's doing that? Is anybody doing that? Do you hear coaches out there saying, look, here's the result, I will promise, and if it takes longer than we expected, any additional coaching to get you there is free, where the outcome is guaranteed, not the process, not you pay for coaching and do the best you can. No, we guarantee the outcome. Let's get on the phone. Let's determine what outcome is fair, achievable, that you believe, and I show you that we can show you how to do that. We will guarantee that outcome. And if you exceed the time frame, which you won't, because then you haven't done it, and I will take you by the hand and show you, then any additional coaching is free. That means your return on investment, A, for purpose, B, profitability through the roof, three, to be able to impact generations. Oh my God, man. What are you waiting for? Click on the link below. Let's get in the conversation. You got to know some scripts before you get there. Time is a ticking, baby. 2026 is coming. Look at your watch. There's a second hand in there. Every second that thing moves is another second that you didn't learn this. So give me a call. I look forward to our relationship. I love you either way. Either way, I'll show you how to do these three things. And let's make a bigger impact in 2026 and beyond in generations that aren't even born yet. And let's change the world. All right. Love you guys. Peace.